Radiant team ban. Navi's turn to pick. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
Dazzle.
Radiant team pick.
Dark Seer.
Shadow Fiend.
Navi's turn to pick.
And we're back. Game number 3 of our leadoff best of 3 of the day. The D2L Western Challenge. It's an EG doubleheader day as they take on Na'Vi in the front half of it. And it's been a hell of a series so far, but if we're honest, it hasn't really been competitive. It's been a lot of fun to watch. But Na'Vi completely stomping in game 1 and EG returning the favor in game 2. So now we find ourselves in game 3 in the draft for the first time today, looking a little bit different as we see Na'Vi takes away PPD's tree, as well as the Naga Siren, which has been picked both games so far by Evil Geniuses. EG going to play it safe and just take out the 2 most popular bans right now, especially whenever you don't have first pick in the Ember Spirit and, of course, the Lycan. So Na'Vi bouncing back with a pick of Dazzle and Bad Rider, while EG says hell with it. Arteezy can farm a Shadow Fiend pretty good, too.
Radiant team ban.
I swear to God, I was going to say we're going to see Shadow Fiend this game. When I saw it in my mind Naga banned out, I was like, oh, it's definitely going to be a Shadow Fiend. They have Radiant to work with. Arteezy's like next best hero on, when the Naga's banned out. So I swear I was going to call it. But yeah, Shadow Fiend for your Arteezy most likely. Darkseer picked up quickly here for Universe most likely as well. And then, yeah, it's just kind of interesting that Navi's wanting first pick, and they're just picking what seems to be not traditional first pick-esque type of heroes like Dazzle and AA. I know AA is definitely very popular, but not like it's not like make or break. I got my Lycan or Ember like I talked about last game. So kind of interesting that they must really value the Dazzle. As before, actually, I think they banned it out twice in the first 2 banning phases of the last 2 games. So they have now the Dazzle to work with. So I'm interested to see how Na'Vi utilizes it.
Dazzle's another one of those heroes that just kind of fits into whatever you want to do. He's a very good team fight hero. They do have Dire, which means they're going to be able to use Weave to take Roshan. Very early on, if they're given the opportunity. He can push, he can defend, he can do whatever you need. EG's actually going to grab a Nyx Assassin very early on in that 3rd position. Well, it's not very early on, but I guess it kind of comes as a surprise because you already see the Darkseer. And the Nyx at this point is predominantly played as an offlaner as opposed to a support, but with the Darkseer out, you would imagine Universe is going to want to solo lane all to his lonesome, and Shadow Fiend, as mentioned, likely to wind up mid. So kind of a throwback, but Nyx can be very, very strong roaming out of that position. But the Nyx makes sense for, just for the Bad Rider for no other reason, just having Carapace. So even if you do have to run him as a support, it's still going to be a justified pick regardless of what level and his early farm's going to be. You're going to find some use for him.
This next pick is very important from Na'Vi, and I think this is why they're taking a lot of time. Because right now, it's still open. The chance is still open for an aggressive tri-lane from Na'Vi. But they don't.
Right.
They haven't seen the other support from EG. Because if I get like Nyx is a pretty weak support in lane, and that's why Na'Vi's probably taking so much time with this last pick, or this third pick, I should say. They're trying to make the conscious decision, or maybe keep the option open as to whether they can go aggro or not. They might just pick a core here, something safe. Like they're running out of a lot of time. Okay,
yep.
So it's going to be a chance. So most likely, that was like the last second, by the way. So
yep.
Looks like Puppy is kind of a little out of sorts with, as far as not deciding quite quickly what he wants. With a very, very last second pick there of Chen. So yeah, again, most likely because of that Chen, going to be a safe lane tri-lane or pseudo tri-lane with the Chen, and yeah.
I think you're right, and I definitely would agree with you that the conversation probably had to revolve around what they were going to do so far as any aggressive potential. As you said, the Nyx Assassin, not a particularly strong support in lane whenever he comes under aggression. I mean, level 1 Impale's garbage, and even level 2, at best, so... you definitely have an window of opportunity to abuse that, and it looks like Na'Vi instead wanting to just play it safe, and the Bat going to be doing his own thing most likely out in that off lane. So Na'Vi's still looking for heroes for both Dendi as well as a Vost, at least ostensibly one would imagine, with Funnick handling the Bat Rider in the off lane. EG though is looking for another core as well. They've got their off laner in their mid, at least that's what one would imagine they have, and could be looking to pick a hard farmer. Nope, they're just going to go right back to what worked for them in game 2. PPD will be back on the Crystal Maiden.
I think this is a really good pickup for a number of reasons. One, the heroes are going to benefit highly from that aura. Like Darkseer is definitely going to benefit from the aura in the laning phase. Nyx Assassin especially is going to benefit from it, and obviously everyone's going to. Not to mention you can trap the creeps from Chen as well, so kind of makes one of those creeps useless early on. So not to mention CM's just a premier support hero, and PBD plays it nicely, and also gives a good chance to roam mid on the hero, whoever that might be. So if you're able to get some slows and snares onto the mid hero, it's easy for Shadow Fiend to set up some double raises and get some nice kills that way. But Lifestealer picked up here, very interesting because interesting because you're up against as far as laning goes, the Darkseer. But if they're able to get him to pop his surge early on, they can maybe not a kill, but I don't imagine Universe will die up in that lane. That's not a very high kill lane, the Dazzle Lifestealer Chen. So I think that the Lifestealer is just mainly for, it's actually good against the rest of the heroes, honestly. It's good against Shadow Fiend. If you get an early basher up on to Nyx. It's good against the Nyx Assassin, It's good against CM, so it's not the worst pickup, honestly, against those three heroes. As far as the laning phase go, that's what I'm worried about primarily for Na'Vi.
Me too. That's how I feel as well. Like when the Lifestealer pickup's fine, you're going to have a Chen, and that's going to be able to buy him some space at the very least. Just because when there's a Chen on the board, especially one as legendary, literally legendary as Puppy's Chen, you just have to constantly be wary of where he's going. Is he going to pop out in lane and try to gank the Darkseer? Is he going to pop out after a long distance map smoke into your own jungle and do something? It's almost impossible to tell. And Puppy's as crafty a Chen player as you're going to run into, so he'll be there to make some space. But it's really when the laning phase starts to break down, or if Na'Vi manages, or if EG manages to take an early fight, and I'm not talking like a huge swing, but if they manage to just kind of knock the wind out of Na'Vi and maybe get a tower or two down early to just shrink the map and the influence that a Chen can have, I feel like that Lifestealer is going to be way out on a boat by himself. Basically, he's going to be way out by himself. And I actually find it very interesting the way EG chose to do this. They ban out the sniper, which Na'Vi has been running Dendi on for quite some time. We've seen it a couple of times here in D2L play. And then they pick the Storm Spirit themselves just to guarantee that Na'Vi can't get their hands on it. Also an excellent tool to deal with heroes like Bat Rider with the lasso. If you're very quick, you can vortex a Bad Rider who's trying to move away with one of your teammates, at least before BKBs come out. But also a way to jump on the Chen and so on. And hello, Dendi Pudge. So that'll be fun, nothing else. And I like it, Na'Vi. Thank you. It's been a while. It's been too long since I've been able to cast a Dendi Pudge.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun. I love seeing me some Dendi Pudge, and just Pudge in general. I feel like this could go two different ways for Navi. They could get some good creeps on Chen early on, and they could smoke early on before EG does onto SF mid, and just completely shit on Arteezy. Or the reverse happens. You don't get good creeps on Chen. You try to go for kills on Darkseer that they're just not accessible, and then Crystal Maiden comes and robes Pudge with, you know, a haste rune coming out on a Nyx as well, and then Storm Spirit gets free farm and just rolls over them. So it's, I don't know. This is ballsy from Navi, but that's what Navi's all about. It's just kind of throwing it all on the table and hoping for the best. But I would love to see this matchup. I just hope it's a 1v1 matchup. It's probably not going to be, because we're probably going to see some roaming coming out, but it would be fun to see a straight up 1v1 Shadow Fiend versus Pudge mid.
It's a lot of fun to see Dendi running his set from free to play, by the way. It makes me really, really happy.
I have this set now too. It's badass.
It's sick, isn't it? Yep. And for those who noticed, I did have the free to play, one of the free to play wallpapers whenever I was loading in. I guess you call it loading screens. Since we did shift to XSplit, we're using a minimize kind of an overlay thing. But do have a pause. That's why it's okay for us to be talking about these things. And wow, that's really weird. Trying to get a view on fountain, but enough of that. For those who are just tuning in, this is Game 3, of course, of our leadoff best of 3 of the day. EG taking on Navi. Our second best of 3, the tail end of the EG doubleheader, will be coming up, should be right after the end of this game, assuming it goes an average length of time. They'll be taking on Roxkus, who will be making their D2L debut. Roxkus was slated to play a series yesterday, and we ended up canceling that just because everything got all crooked, and, you know, there were equipment issues and schedule issues, whatever. So they will be making their debut coming up next. And, you know, Roxkus is a team that a lot of these other teams in the D2L Western Challenge have to be watching very closely. Because, you know, Roxkus is just so good, but at the same time, they do go on losing streaks from time to time. And especially teams like Team Liquid, who only have one win under their belt as of right now, and could end up in a worse situation if they're not very, very careful. They really need basically Fnatic and Roxkus to kind of screw the pooch. They really need those two teams to lose the vast majority of their matches to have a shot at postseason play. And of course, Fnatic, who is also 0-2, is going to be keeping an eye on Roxkus and hoping they start to drop series as well. But looks like, I think we can grant them a little bit of time, given how long they had to wait on us to get everything under control. And hopefully everything's better. My frame rate is much better now. In between games, we didn't even really talk to you about it, Trouf. In between games, we actually switched out a whole rig and all that stuff, and set up XSplit just on the personal casting computer, just because we were sick of the red artifacting that was taking place on the stream, and we knew it was driving people crazy. So hopefully everyone's a little bit more happy with the way things are now.
Yep, hopefully. But I was gonna mention something, and it totally failed me. Totally lost my thought there. Sorry, guys. Maybe it'll come back to me in a second.
Rusin game, go remake, please. Can't tell if that's legit. No, okay, don't think so. Here we go. Game 3. Okay, never mind. LOL, JK. Universe, you jerk. Game 3. Now underway as the teams begin to move out, but very early. Taking a look at just the way that Navi has drafted this, I think you're dead on the money. I think Puppy's going to be very active, and he needs to be very active against EG. EG certainly has the tools to deal with Navi's lineup if Dendi is held down at all. They've got great roaming potential, even though the Nyx Assassin isn't fantastic as a laner, at least not as good as he is in the off lane. I mean, he could still be very effective. There's a reason why teams ran him there for as long as they did. It's not as if he's terrible. And in terms of roaming supports with the Crystal Maiden, he'll be very effective.
Wow, this Lifestealer set looks awesome too. Look at that. I've never seen that. Yep. University's reluctant to placing the ward right in the normal spot. I'm wondering if he'll place it just to see the rune. Looks like he's gonna turn around and maybe go place it to the top rune or something. So I'm not gonna have the vision in that weird part of the jungle right there, but nonetheless we'll still have some rune vision, because PPD placed this other ward in the lane, so they want to be able to see this bat as much as possible. Funnick, though, all the way down here with the early Firefly, is creating a nice path for himself. Did you see if he was spotted? I wasn't looking down here.
I don't think so. I don't think he was spotted. I think this is just for him to hang out and stay safe, and he could kind of juke behind and all this fun stuff. But, you know, where the creeps are going to end up meeting is going to be right about here. And that's just perfect position for him to sit and leech XP for free. And then if things go crooked, he can just fly off the side of the map. No problem. So horn blows and the lanes take shape. Puppy will be making his way into lane up at top. We see Avos has actually found himself an invis that was spotted by Universe, so he's not going to be coming too far out until he sees Avos come into lane to last hit Kuro. I'll be joining him in the tri-lane on the Dazzle. Dendi, of course, on his super sick Pudge set here in mid. And I love the little mini Dendi, by the way. Yep, you see him hanging right there off the back of him. But hold that thought. Phonic's been spotted. Zai got eyes on him. Mason right there with him. They're both just level 1, though. And just look at this. How clever this is. Phonic just cutting that path and very easily makes it back to safety. No problem.
Yeah, I don't imagine he'll get too much, though. Level 1 mana burn here for Zai, and that kind of says to Phonic that he's not going to be in too much of harm's way. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting lane. PPD's just gone straight to the jungle. I think that's the best decision for him. They don't really have much kill potential on the boots first Batrider. And already an early smoke with a great creep here, the Dark Troll Summoner here for Puppy. Unfortunately, this lane is kind of pushed up a little too far for his liking, so they're going to have to wait a little bit longer. And Arteezy, they might miss a kill here, unfortunately. He needs to block, yeah, Dendi needs to block this wave, and even then, it's going to be kind of far up. Arteezy's going to have to play really, really far up.
Yep, they're going to go. Oh, he took a step, and they get the net off. Dendi's right there. There's the hook.
There it is.
The rot to follow it up. A little bit of right-click, and Arteezy drops for first blood. And this is what we knew was going to be necessary. Hang on down to bottom. We can actually see Phonic being very aggressive, getting some stacks up on Zai and Mason. And doing a little bit of burn damage while PPD just does his thing in the jungle, stacking, pulling, and whatnot. But anyway, this is what Navi's lineup needs, is just a little bit of space to get ahead. A little bit of time to get Pudge, online with whatever items he wants. Make sure Havos is able to farm very consistently up at top. And just try to hold down, especially Arteezy. And they're going to be able to continue to do that, too. It's just so hard to account for it, and Puppy just so damn good on Jhin.
Yeah, and people don't account sometimes that how much of a snowball hero Pudge can be if he gets an early start.
Yep.
So if you gank early on for a Pudge and that Pudge player is good, which Dendi is, it could be very, very devastating in the mid game. Like, it starts to become very, very scary if you start landing these level 4 hooks. That was a level 1 hook, by the way, in mid. That was like maximum range, so very well played by Dendi and Puppy.
See, Dendi's already level 4.5. He's a full level ahead of Arteezy off of that kill. And just getting him active and around the map is going to matter a lot. And that's one issue that they're going to have to cope with, is when you look at their heroes, they do have some things that are going to help them against the hooks. I mean, you're going to have Zai with Carapace. That's nice. If he's very quick on the trigger, Universe with Surge can be a tough target to hit. Of course, Mason with Ball Lightning, he can be a tough target to hit. But PVD is going to be a very appetizing target. More importantly, Arteezy is going to have problems off of the Pudge and off of the LS in particular, so long as they're able to get a lasso on him early, if they're able to delay his BKBs. But Zai not wasting any time, coming to already help Arteezy out with the stacking and make sure that every minute that's not spent right down in the river last hitting is still going to be productive for young Prodigy.
Yeah, the only problem is they got a really crappy spawn. Like, Mud Golems are pretty bad. Honestly, the Wolves are pretty bad early on for Shadow Fiend as well. They don't give that much gold. They give good experience, but not that much gold. And yeah, he is not showing his face at all. Because Haste Rune on Pudge is like certain death. Certain death for a hero that has no escape mechanisms and doesn't have boots yet. So I will say, as you mentioned, and very rightly so, that Nyx is actually very, very good against Pudge. And, oh, here comes the TP rotation on the bottom. They want to kill Mason before he hits level 6. Haste Rune popped.
And Dendi getting into position. Mason, wow.
Oh,
juked
no.
him. And Phonic was there to help, but has no mana. And that was actually just kind of a weird shot from Dendi. As he had a stack of sticky napalm on him too. So up atop though, we are going to have Universe engage upon Poison Touch to follow it up. A regen was bottled by Dendi on his way back to lane. So not only does he manage to apply some pressure, he did manage to find another rune on his way back, but Universe able to dodge a kill at top as well. So even though Na'Vi got first blood, they're having trouble finding more kills now that we're into the latter stages of the early game.
Yeah, unfortunately though, I feel like he could have, if not just missed or just gone for the hook, maybe just kind of dove Mason a little bit. Mason was only level 4, so his damage output wasn't that high. Dendi, unfortunately, he's throwing out a lot of hooks, but obviously you miss every hook you don't take. So, and he has a regen rune, so I think it's okay to be liberal with your hooks at this point.
Miss every hook you don't take. Is that Michael Scott? So Office fans will get that. But anyway, Havost is continuing to farm away. He's number 2 in CS. Mason's actually doing extremely well, though. He's sitting at 31 CS at 5 minutes in. And given it has been a bad end, they did get disrupted a bit by Dendi coming down in the lane. That's really not too bad at all. And it's going to be a Midas coming out on Havost. He's already got up the recipe, now just tucking a few hundred gold extra away for the Glove of Haste. So they're going to be looking to play this long game. Arteezy's probably going to be in the same boat. Let's see, what's he have on the way? No, just his bottle. So Arteezy's actually quite far behind that pace set by Havost.
Yeah, Midas is really good specifically in this lane because you can just Midas the Ion Shield creep, and it really deters the effectiveness of Darkseer in this lane. Not to mention, this is a hard lane, honestly, for any melee hero. So, luckily for Havost, he has the Feast to give him some extra HP back, and it's actually he's going for a 1-2-2 kind of build. So, this is just simply because he's taking too much damage from the Ion Shell, and he actually popped his Midas right away. Just wants to get that golden experience very, very quickly. There's a very aggressive smoke coming around as they're searching for Arteezy, who's been jungling. They're pinging out Zai. They know he's behind this tier 1, but Arteezy's been a little elusive here, and he's going to miss this gank.
Zai, spotted out, and hooked. Dendi hits it from the high ground. Very quick on the carapace, though. Could buy some time. Funnick's going to be there to help things out, and yeah, Universe unable to get there anytime soon to help. But that's something they're going to have to contend with. It didn't make a difference there, but, you know, EG has some tools that are going to make the hooks a little less effective and a little bit harder to make effective. So, nonetheless, though, it's 2-0. Na'Vi out to a good early lead, and you can see by efficiency they're actually leading in gold. The experience, though, is in favor of EG.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to Mason. It's a very, very good hero for situations like this. The only thing I fear is if you get a lot of gold and gold and experience up on the puppy, if you get mech and the heal coming out, I feel like it's going to really reduce the effectiveness of Storm Spirit. Because and then he has creeps in his arsenal too. Here comes another smoke, as they might do something here in mid. They might find Arteezy too. Yeah, they're going to find Arteezy.
Up spotted point blank. They're going to get that one for free, and they're going to get a kill on PPD if they clear out. Dendi thought about throwing the hook. Here comes Mason to re-engage, though. Puppy and Kuro in trouble. There's the Shadow Wave to help things out. Mason bouncing around. Great grave on the Kuro, and somehow they all three survived. Funnick was there to try to help out as well. Everyone walks away, and PPD ends up dying under his own tower. Very well played out of Kuro there in particular. There's going to be a hook that's off the mark that time. Universe making his way over. Arteezy's back up. It has just gone tread, so we'll be skipping a Midas build this time, or if he does get it, it'll be coming out much later than we're accustomed to seeing it come out for him. But that was unbelievably well managed by Na'Vi. The fact that they kept everyone up and standing there, and Kuro in particular, well-placed Shadow Wave, and the shallow grave on himself to keep himself alive when he realized he was the priority target. Just really solid stuff across the board. And Na'Vi back at it again. Dendi has an invis. That's a dead Zai or a dead Arteezy. They're going to go on Arteezy. There you go, Rot. And Dendi has the ultimate. Didn't even feel like he needed to use it. There's a poison touch to follow it. Stomp is there as well. Dendi right-click but not down. And here comes Mason. He actually guessed wrong. Does manage to follow it up, though. Kuro graving himself. Puppy's going to be able to make it away. And Mason there to help get a return kill. So EG finally makes their way onto the board, but not before Arteezy dies again. That in and of itself is a pretty big fact, and this whole time, Havost is just farming right in the face of Universe.
Yeah, that's the difference, is Havost is farming, whereas Storm Spirit has to come help them. And even in that first engagement that he came to help, it was totally unsuccessful, and he ended up dying as a result. And this is all before Chen hits level 6, which Chen did just hit level 6, and now has his global heal, which is massive. Because when he has creeps in front of him too, and Storm Spirit goes in, it really makes Storm Spirit quite useless. Here comes an early blink on the Funnick, gonna get a lasso onto Universe. That is a very nice timing of a blink for Funnick, and that's really bad for EG.
Yep. Losing Universe, delaying the one hero who, to this point, had seemed to be at least holding ground. And don't know if he bought anything before he ended up dropping there. Nope, nothing on the courier, nothing in his stash. So at 9 minutes in, the Universe can lay claim to every bit of a soul ring and a set of brown boots. And for him, that's a little slow. Mason is still in very good shape, though. He's number 2 in overall CS. Arteezy, despite dying twice, is sitting not too far off the pace either at 51 CS for himself. We look at the net worth, though. We can see Pudge is actually in 3rd position right there with Mason, while Havos is opening up a huge gap, almost up to 1,700 ahead of Arteezy at this point.
Yeah, there is a sentry placed down here. It actually is in range, but they don't have the uphill vision. They're pinging it out, though, so they do see it because it just hit daytime. He's trying to counter-ward it, and he will get it if he doesn't miss any more times. Can he get it? Can he get it? It's actually denied by Arteezy. I wonder if he gets souls for that, by the way.
Don't think so. All right, here we go. PPD and Zyre on the high ground. Here comes Funnick. Lasso's not up, but it does have Blink. PPD gonna die for free. And yeah, Na'Vi is just... They're running around as 4, and EG, even as 5, seems like they're having trouble stopping them. What I worry is going to happen, the timing of this has just been brilliant out of Na'Vi. After those 2 deaths, Arteezy had to abandon the idea of a Midas, and instead just went straight up treads, bottom in 1 shot. But because they were able to keep that Midas off the board, this means he has to start fighting instead of playing typical Arteezy style. If he's going to go treads, basically Na'Vi's just going to continue to get more and more out of hand with Havos having what he does, and he doesn't have a Midas while Havos does. So they have to turn this around basically by brute force. They're not going to be able to rat this out very effectively, I don't think.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful draft. Like, okay, the only problem with Na'Vi's draft, as we mentioned, was the laning phase. They needed to get out of the laning phase.
Right.
And Puppy did exactly what I thought would be the best thing for them, is get a good creep and go mid immediately. And that's exactly what he did. He found the Trapper, or the Dark Soul Summoner, or whatever it's called, Dark Troll Summoner, and went mid, smoked it up right away. Blink now acquired by Dendi very early on. And the thing is these pushes are so good against Nyx and Storm Spirit in particular. But coming in onto Arteezy!
Oh! Arteezy once again, Dendi went fishing and found himself a big old trout as Arteezy drops again. And that's going to be his 4th death in this game. He's died 3 times to Pudge ganks and once to Puppy coming into mid. This is a disaster for him. The fact that he's anywhere near on pace after 4 deaths is pretty astonishing, but he is falling quickly. He's now at about half the overall farm of Havos, who is just going to town in top lane, has yet to move.
Just brilliantly played and by Na'Vi, and yeah, outside of the laning phase, this draft was just was brilliant by Puppy. I really, really like it. And now he's got 3 creeps up. He's level 7. Mech, I'm sure, is coming online. We also didn't even talk about the Grave coming out from Kuroki. As you mentioned, we saw that one time. Here's a double smoke. Invis coming up mid. Dendi could be in trouble.
Vortex back. That's actually just a heads-up play. Dendi was on an Invis rune and Zai was Vendetted. And I'm not even sure who dropped that. But somebody, basically someone from EG said Dendi's going to be here. And they dropped it, and there he was. So a free one there that's very desperately needed by them, and this will buy them a little bit of time as Na'Vi has to reset. We'll see if they want to push a tier 2. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case, though. Mason is more than likely going to be going straight for his Orchid. And Orchid would be kind of a big deal here. If they're able to jump on Puppy, like you said, if he's going to go straight mech and then Hand of God, which is going to be the call as the buckler's already up, and he has enough for the headdress, so only about 900 gold away from being able to finish the mech. Being able to work at him and bring him down in these fights would be a huge deal. And that's gonna have to be what the plan is. Just avoid hooks and try to get Mason farmed and let Arteezy catch up.
Thonic's been sitting up here for a long time. He has been baiting Havos for quite some time. PPD pinged it out earlier, and hopefully Phonic doesn't leave, because here comes the aggression from EG. They want to kill Havos, but the thing about Havos is this hero is not easy to kill. As you see Arteezy actually up there, raising past the tier 2. What are you doing up there?
Oh, Teezy.
Oh, no. He's brought up to the
Put on the high ground. Yep. And he's going to die. He's going to burn to death. Huh?
What was he doing up there?
Desperation is the only word that comes to mind. Havos is going to be engaged upon by EG, though. This is a nice counter pick. And they are going to be able to bring him down. The Hand of God was there from Puppy, but still just not enough. Everyone from EG, save for Arteezy, was there. But as good as that is,
That's a good
I mean,
kill.
it's great, but Arteezy died for free. Like, you just can't have that.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
But that's a good kill because that actually gives hope to EG, because that was the one thing I was afraid of. No, like, they have a lot of aggression coming out from an Navi, the hooks coming out from a Dendi, lots of kill potential. But then in the back of EG's mind, it's like, God, we have all this to worry about, but then we can't even kill Lifestealer because he's just so tanky in his rage. But they were able to get a kill, so it actually does give some hope to EG, I think. At least mentally.
Just look at the way that EG had to go about this. They know, by the way, that Havost is down and that it's just 4 from Na'Vi. They could have potentially come and collapsed this way and tried to make something happen. But they had to go all the way around, just living in mortal fear of the Pudge and not allowing him any shot at grabbing a hook. But like you said, the blink is done on Dendi. His mobility through the roof, and we'll see where he wants to go next to find his next target. Puppy should have the mech done very soon. Yeah, the headdress is already on the way to him. And another 500 gold, and he'll have the full mech complete. But, you know, if there is one bright spot for EG, it's that Na'Vi doesn't really have a team composition that's going to allow them to just sit back and like, take it easy. They have to constantly spend time at EG's side of the map. They have to constantly be in their jungle, constantly pressure them. And when you play that way, you can be open to more mistakes than usual because you're not having a breather. You're not having a moment to reset and get yourself in the optimum position. But looks like EG doesn't really care. They think the optimum position is top lane, and the death of the tier 1 could be the result.
Yeah, if one person TP's up here, they are dead. Like, they're very, very dead. So, EG, they're ready for this TP. They're baiting behind Universe. Or sitting behind Universe, I should say. Zai, he's actually used the Vendetta, gone behind this tower. But looks like Navi's just waiting, and they're actually walking up there instead of TPing. Dendi, he's TPing in now. Multiple TPs.
Here we go. They're going to try to engage behind the fight. We're going to hear, yep, here comes Funnick into the back of the fight. The rest are going to chase out. Dendi's there, grabbed by Mason. And under his own tower. Here's Funnick, though, to help. Oh, great vacuum out of Universe. Drops the wall, and Funnick's going to end up dead through PPD's ultimate. And the nice engagement. But Havost was able to chase down Funnick, or excuse me, chase down Arteezy behind that. Universe now on the run. PPD's going to try to TP away, so is Mason. Can they find anyone? They're going to find, nope. Universe may be the only one. One swipe, walks right past them, and they all get away. But the sad thing is, at the end of that engagement, they got Dendi and they got Funnick, 2 great kills, but they had to give up Arteezy again to do it. And Arteezy just keeps falling further and further in terms of overall net worth. And on some heroes, it wouldn't matter as much. On a Shadow Fiend, you are completely reliant on items. You have to have both your defensive and your offensive items up to feel effective. And Havost is just getting bigger and bigger. Now up to 9,200 overall net worth. So EG, decent trade there, but they got to keep Arteezy alive. They can't keep giving him away.
Yeah, and the thing is I don't think that Shadow Fiend is that great against Nakes or Lifestealer unless you get a ton of farm early. Because right now, Nakes can just open wounds him, press rage, and just right-click him to death. And Arteezy can't do anything. He can't raise him. He has no auto-attack damage that does any significant amount of damage at this time. That trade, though, I think EG will be fine with. Oh, here comes another death possibly onto Arteezy.
Arteezy caught, Hand of Gods deployed. Let's see if they can catch him. Dendi could end up, yep, is going to end up dropping. No, they got him from behind. It was actually Pudge. Not even sure how he got him. There's a little bit of a weird visual bug, or not wanting to call it a bug. Just looked really odd on my screen. But nonetheless, they're going to chase this out. And EG, Universe with a big vacuum into an impale. They could end up getting Kuro out of it. Puppy's going to use the mech. Hand of God still on cooldown. And they're going to lose the gem, so that was weird. Na'Vi decided to pursue out an entire team as Funnick continues to try and be a nuisance. Is actually doing good damage to Universe. Here comes PPD inside to help chase him away, though. Has enough, doesn't have enough mana for a 4-step, but will have his blink off cooldown in 2 seconds as he comes back to Earth. And he will just go ahead and blink away, so EG is actually doing a fairly phenomenal job of playing their way back into this, but again, they just keep losing Arteezy.
Yeah, they're losing Arteezy all the time. It was the Earn charge, too, that killed him the last tick.
Oh, was it?
And Dendi looking for a blink hook here onto Arteezy. Now Arteezy sniffs it out. He's going to go back to top. But, yeah, Na'Vi playing a little sloppy here. But that was a great double Centaur. I don't even know if he stomped him both times, but he just attacked Mason to death. And Mason just died to double Centaurs. Kind of unfortunate there, because it would have been an extremely good trade for EG had Mason lived there. But Mason did die. Havos, in the meantime, is still just farming, and yeah, he has the early Skull Basher, which is a perfect item against the team of EG. Really, really good item here.
Dendi taking a little bit of farm, now going to go hunting for a hook. There it is. Found PPD. And they're going to re-engage on it. No Vortex to follow. Kuro's there. Can throw out the Grave if needs be, but they get the weave down. Avos is going to come in and engage, and you first got bashed right off the bat. There's a Grave on the Dendi to keep him alive. Funnick using his lasso. Mason takes a spill as well. Arteezy not going to die this time, but 3 of his teammates might. Hell, he may die. Avos is right there with him. There's the open wounds. Funnick's on the high ground. Hook from Dendi. Kill secured. And now, just like that, all the momentum that EG seemed to have recovered is dashed away. Dendi, excellent play from Kuro, by the way. Kuro has played so good this game. Funnick being in the right place at the right time. Havos is just too large. That Basher coming out at this point is a little too much to overcome. And yeah, you take a look at the net worth. This game has officially gotten away from EG.
Yeah, well, and it's also, I know that this is probably happening in Twitch chat too. Like they're looking at the numbers, and Arteezy's 1-8 and 3. I'm gonna pause that as we're gonna have a fight here.
Yep, here we go. Vortex on the Havos. Mason comes in, has no man. Another hook that's gonna grab PPD again. He's gonna be dismembered, and another death for Mason behind his own racks. The racks are naked. Arteezy can't do anything. Like really, if he comes down, this is what's gonna happen. Lassoed and gonna be blown apart. Hand of God after the ulti just to put everyone back in good shape. GG. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else you could do. Na'Vi just played that phenomenally. And by the end, by the way, Arteezy was less farmed than Kuro's Dazzle. The 5 position for Na'Vi had more farm than Arteezy. Not very often you're going to see a situation like that, but, you know, it's one of